Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. So I'm here today with Dave Mack, who I've had the pleasure of meeting recently through our mutual ally in the Meat Militia, Professor Barkay. It's great to have you on, and I've been following your channel for quite a few months now, and you've really had some good progress in terms of your subscribership. And what I'd like to say about that is it means that more people are paying notice to the carnivore diet, which is what I'm a real advocate for. So thank you for coming on today.
No, thank you so much for having me, Jonathan. And yeah, I find the same myself. I mean, I've only been doing this for about 11 months, but it feels like month by month the momentum is just building so much. So there's so many more people interested in carnivore. So which is great.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good place to be right now. Your videos are helping lots of people out, like experienced people like myself and beginners. So what you're putting out there is really valuable information, entertaining as
Oh,
well.
cheers.
So it's nice to see.
Cheers.
Anyway, so the reason I wanted to talk to you today in particular was to have an outline of how you came to the carnivore diet. You know, you don't
Mm.
look like an overweight gentleman, which is quite uncommon. I mean, a lot of people I speak to, sort of middle-aged sort of folk, they tend to come to it to lose a bit of weight, feel a bit better, this sort of thing. So how did you start on this journey?
Well, I did I did have weight to lose, which fortunately has gone, thanks to the carnivore diet, and I'll talk a bit more about that. But I've always, and I mean, I did have weight in my face, but I've always been someone who carries most of the weight they put on around the middle. So always thin legs, kind of, thin up here, and it was just like, bread belly kind of thing. And I obviously wanted to get rid of that look. And um, so I had a few things happen all at once. And the first, well, they happened at the same time. Yeah. Um, my doctor told me that I was pre-diabetic. And he also said, you are drinking way too much. You need to stop the alcohol. And I mean, I knew both of those things. I knew if I wasn't pre-diabetic, I was soon to be, and I knew I needed to give up the alcohol. But hearing the doctor say it, and also hearing him say he wanted to put me on a drug to help me give up the alcohol, made me a little bit scared. And so I said to him, can you give me a few weeks? I'm going to try and work on this myself, and then next time we see each other, then let's touch base about where we go. And so I knew the keto diet. I knew I did well on the keto diet, and so I jumped on keto that day. And that was June 3rd last year. And I haven't had a drink since then. And I was doing okay on keto, and of course, um, any ketogenic diet seems to give you better self control. So I was able to kind of stay, stable, like not having crazy like cravings for food and not feeling like I needed to pick up a bottle of beer or something. And but the problem I did start having was having to run to the bathroom very quickly after eating. And I I'd been eating my vegetables, on my keto diet, trying to keep my vitamin C up because that's what we're always told. So I was eating vegetables that I believed to be high in vitamin C. But then when I started doing a little bit of research on YouTube, and I found, I think it was a video by Dr. Berry, and he was talking about how the particular lectins in nightshade vegetables, which was what I was eating, are very, very bad for you as far as inflammation and causing you to have, diarrhea and stuff like that. And thought, oh, okay, so maybe this is what it is. And so from then, I just cut the vegetables out and I thought, I'll see how I go. And the problems went away. And so I've never eaten another vegetable again. And so basically, I don't know, it was about a week to 2 weeks in. I've been full carnivore since then. So, kind of mid to late June last year.
Wow, yeah. There actually is so many anecdotes I've already heard about the digestive healing power of the carnivore diet.
Hmm.
I know myself, I've had, from years of bodybuilding, I've had bad digestive systems, so I can see how when someone's experienced a diet that's high in lectins beforehand, how it'd have such a big impact to actually get rid of them.
Hmm.
Did it change? Has the diet itself changed your life in any other way? Obviously, with digestion, but has it changed like things like your
Um,
mood or
oh
your
yeah, yeah.
social
It's
life? I don't
changed,
know, things like that.
changed lots of things. Yeah. It's made me more, it's made me less shy as one of the things, which is actually kind of strange thing about me. Like I'm a very shy person, but by by trade, I'm a public speaking trainer, which is kind of weird, right? To be a shy person, but be a public speaking trainer.
Yeah,
Um, but basically, what it is that if I can just walk out and do my thing in front of an audience, then there's no problem. But then if I had to then go and talk to the people that were in the audience later, like over a drink or something, that's when I would be like shy, like more like one-on-one kind of thing. Um, and so I'm more confident in myself now. I'm not as shy as I was. Mood's better. I'm sleeping better. Um, and there's a whole host of things, but gum disease is gone. There's so many. It's hard to remember. Gum disease is gone. I used to have bad gum disease. I've never flossed my teeth because the gum disease was always so bad. As soon as the floss got anywhere near a gum, it was just bleeding. Um, and I had terrible bad breath because of that. That's gone. Um, Arthritis in my left knee has gone. And that's great. That developed, I guess, that developed sometime around like October 2021. And I put up with it for, over 6 months. And it was such a drain. And I was like, I, the thought of walking makes me just want to give up completely. It's just so painful. Um, and it's just gone. It's just completely gone now. It's just so strange. Like I'll find myself walking up an escalator now and go, "Oh yeah, this doesn't hurt." That's right. Um, so there's all that, but I think the biggest thing has been um, improvement to my balance and my ability to walk due to a stroke I had when I was 17. So when I was 17 years old, I had a subarachnoid hemorrhage while I was sleeping, which is basically an aneurysm on the kind of main artery in your head just burst. And fortunately, my blood's quite thick. Um, Maybe to do with all the sugar I was eating at the time. I don't know. But fortunately, my blood's really thick and it clotted quickly. So that saved my life. And I just woke up and kind of went about my day as normal until I realized how bad it what had been. Um, but that stroke 30 years ago now left me with a limp and, balance issues and strength issues on my right side and stuff like that. And the interesting thing about being on the carnivore diet in just 11 months, it's improved all those things. Like I'm much more flexible than I have been. And I still limp, but I don't limp as noticeably as I did before. My balance is better. I've got a little bit more strength back in my left arm. Sorry, my right arm. And yeah, so it's never going to be the same as my left side, my left arm, strength wise or balance wise, but it's just leaps and bounds from where it was.
That's incredible. Yeah, my granddad, my late granddad, had a very similar experience to you. He was lucky. My brother called the ambulance at about the age of 6 years old to come sort of get him and save him, sort of thing, because he could have been in a very tricky spot. But yeah, it sounds like so many different things have changed for you. Like the ability to walk a bit better and get around. You know, you're not an old man, Dave. You're someone that should be able to go around, live their life quite happily. You know, should be able to walk through your garden, walk up and down the street and do all these things, catch a bus, be able to stand up on a bus perhaps. And these sort of things are all the subtle day-to-day things which people don't think about. And, you know, everyone's always focused about all the weight loss and this, that and the other. But it seems like carnivore diet itself is really curing you from the inside out, which is,
yeah,
it's always impressive to see and hear things like that.
It's really interesting that you say, like, you're not an old man. So when, after the arthritis started, so the arthritis is in my left knee and I'm limping with my right knee, with my right leg. And so as I'm walking down the street, it just looks ridiculous, you know, like I'm literally dragging both legs behind me. And so after the arthritis started it would have been October 2021, people started offering me seats. People started offering to help carry things. And I was like, oh, I'm getting old. This is it. You know, and you don't internally, like, I'm not old, right? I've never felt old, right? And but when you get off a train and you've got to walk down a flight of steps and a young 20-something-year-old girl turns to you and says, do you want me to carry your bags for you? And it's like, oh, okay, this has gone beyond the point of no return now. You know, it's like, this is too much. So, I mean, the fact that I'm not like that anymore, and no, in the last 12 months, no one has offered to carry anything for me or offered me a seat is a good sign.
Well, also, Dave, we haven't thought about is you should have probably milked it for a few more years.
True. The trains get pretty busy here. I could have done with those seats.
Yeah. Yeah, so what is your diet like at the moment then? I know people have different ideas of what is the best carnivore diet for them. Are you meat only? Do you do fish, eggs, dairy, things like that?
So, I'm eating about I am eating 8 eggs a day, about 200 grams of cheese, and about 600 grams of beef. So I'll have that beef as like mince or ground beef, or like some sliced Wagyu beef that I can get from the supermarket.
Yeah.
And I just fry it all up in beef tallow or lard, and it's just in a big bowl. It's like, you know, ends up being, you know, 1.5 kilos of food or something. It's, you know, and I have that for breakfast, and then I don't eat again for the rest of the day. And that doing that one meal a day is similar to the diet. It's just something that I fell into. And I actually think I do a little bit better in my health and like for my stability of weight and all that kind of thing if I'm doing 2 meals a day. But this 1 meal a day has just been so productive for me.
Liberating.
It's given me back so much time. And like, for anyone that hasn't tried the carnivore diet, the magical thing about the carnivore diet is it makes you realize how much time you spent thinking about food before you went carnivore.
Yeah.
Because like before it was just I have breakfast, and then all I can think about is what am I going to have for morning tea? Have your muffin or your donut or something for morning tea, and then it's what am I going to be eating for lunch? And it was always these 2 hour increments of what's coming next. And you're not really enjoying anything. And it's this kind of way of eating that makes you realize that, you can still enjoy eating, but really it's just another function you have to do to survive.
Yeah.
And, I still enjoy eating, but it makes you kind of step back and think, what have I been doing to myself? I've been a slave to this thing. Hmm.
Yeah. I think someone out there needs to make some calculations on this. Like how long you spend in a supermarket now versus before.
Hmm.
80% of the aisles you go down to are junk food, which isn't food for human beings. Then the amount of time you spend cooking, 1 meal per day in a frying pan, perhaps, not going to take long. Probably make less food shops, so less payment on, fuel or whatever, however you get around traveling. Yeah, there's a lot to be gained from it, time and money wise, I think.
Hmm.
Have you noticed any sort of interesting benefits of your body composition? Because I know you've recently started up a bit of a weight training regime.
Yeah. So this is I've tried doing gym work before, and I've never had much success. But since I started maybe 3 months ago, and the muscle just seems to, I don't know, come on better or like build better than I've ever expected it to before. I mean, the amount of muscle that I've got just in my chest that I built up in my chest in 3 months. I mean, before I would have been thinking this is like 2 years work to get to this point. So yeah, I unfortunately I don't have any measurements, but I posted a picture on my YouTube channel and on Facebook the other day, just comparing what I was like in May last year and what I look like now. And yeah, the reaction I got was kind of like, "How are you doing that?" Like two friends have contacted me and want to have Zoom calls with me just to discuss, how they can start doing it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of
Yeah.
like Zoom calls and things, to my understanding, you're now having some sort of group Zoom session. How does that work?
Oh, well, I was thinking to do that.
Uh,
I haven't started doing that. Yeah, yeah. I was thinking to do that, but the feedback that I got when I was going to start that up wasn't. I think I hadn't really thought it through all that much, and what I think a lot of people, although they enjoy, kind of watching the channel and watching the videos, they'd rather remain anonymous. And so if I had this Zoom kind of community, then that makes everyone, they've all got to be looking at each other and saying the same thing that would normally say in the comments of my channel. And I think that made a lot of people uncomfortable. So I just ditched that idea.
that's fair enough. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
some people in the community are quite like that. I often get
Mm.
fake name and no profile picture people asking me about things, and yeah, so I can understand that. But yeah, hopefully down the line something might be able to happen where you can have your own forum
Mm.
and people can talk to you about different things.
Yeah,
Definitely be worth looking at, I think. Um, so I mean, you're based, I believe, in Japan now. Is that right?
that's right. Yeah, I'm in Osaka.
How does the diet work for you out there? Is it tricky to come by, or is it just so easy? What's going
So it's easier than you might think because there's a lot of restaurants in Japan that are basically meat only. So, they're called yakiniku shops, and basically it's barbecue beef, like a derivative of Korean barbecue restaurants. And so you can go into these yakiniku shops and you can pay like 3,500 yen, so that's about $30, and you can eat all the beef you want for 2 hours. And, they'll just keep bringing it to you and you cook it up yourself. And yeah, it's great. So eating out's pretty easy because you can do that. And, even when I've gone to regular restaurants, they're pretty accommodating when I say, like, I just want the steak, I don't want anything else on it. They're pretty accommodating. And yeah, you'll get strange looks from some people sometime. Like everyone I work with thinks I'm killing myself. But yeah, apart from that, it's fine.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm a big fan of like teppanyaki grills and things like that.
Mm,
Love that kind of cuisine.
yeah.
It's somewhere I'd definitely like to visit one day. Like the whole culture fascinates me. Do you use any seasonings with your food on that sort of note? Do you use any, I don't know, coconut aminos, sauces, peppers, spices?
Yeah, no, salt is the only thing I put on it.
Just salt, yeah.
And I'm super liberal with the salt. Now
Yeah.
I'm just like chucking that on because I was about 6 months ago, I was getting pretty bad leg cramps in the morning. And so I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to increase my salt intake and see if that fixes things. And it did.
Mm.
So now I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to eat as much salt as I want.
That's cool, yeah. Do you find your thirst has changed at all on the carnivore diet?
Maybe less thirsty. Like I drink a lot of water, but I'm probably now when I drink a lot of water, it's probably more out of habit than actual needing to.
Yeah.
Mm.
I notice that a lot. With most people I speak to, they drink a lot more water than me. I always give out my anecdote of like how much I drink, and they're like, some like 5'2" female with 100 pounds of body mass. Oh, I drink 7 liters per day. I'm like, how? You'd astonish me, honestly. Yeah.
How much are you drinking?
About 2 liters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good amount still. Yeah.
It's enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm probably closer to 4 or 5.
Yeah. I guess it might be more humid where you live, perhaps, as well. Temperature might be different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just kind of got into this habit of like, I really like the sparkling water. I just got this habit of like, always having a bottle with me, and I think it's something that's kind of ended up being a fill-in for, the sugar I'm not eating or something like that.
That's cool. Yeah. I want to talk a bit more about your YouTube channel. Like what kind of goals do you have for it right now? I mean, you've had incredible growth and like push with your channel for the last few months, especially. Do you have like numbers in mind? Is there something you want to do with your channel? Is it just like a hobby,
Well, yeah, I mean, look, I haven't, someone else asked me this a couple of months ago, and I didn't have a good answer then either because I haven't really thought about like how I can develop it out. Basically it started more out of irritation and anger than anything. Like I realized how this was working for me and I just started, someone's got to say something about this, like more people have got to be talking about this, that we're led to believe we should be eating whole grains and all this kind of thing. And it's doing more damage than anything. So that was the kind of the catalyst that made me start the channel. And yeah, the growth and the number of views on some of the videos has just been mind-boggling for me because I've got other channels and I've never seen anything like this. And but I don't know what the future holds. So at the moment I'm just, putting out the content regularly and enjoying the chatting backwards and forwards with people, and yeah, let's see if it grows into something something else, it's probably going to be a little bit like me getting on the carnivore diet. I think it's going to be a little bit organic.
Yeah. Yeah, what I do like about you and your channel is that you take the time to talk with people in the comment section. A lot of people don't give people the same grace, and I find that quite a pleasant thing, because your message to someone might really make their day. You might give them some information on your experience, how it relates to you. Obviously, how you've been through your health issues, you've had a stroke. That might relate to one person. So you might inspire them to change their life outcomes. So that's
Yeah.
very powerful.
Yeah. Like I started chatting because I I like it when like I watch kind of CoffeeZilla or something on YouTube, right? And if I comment on one of his videos and he likes it and comments back, it's like, oh my God, CoffeeZilla's commented on something, replied to me. And so I started just replying to people because I like that feeling myself. And then I realized the conversations were getting really interesting. So I just kept doing it. I mean, it's got less now because there's just too many comments and it's become overwhelming. But yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I want to talk a bit about your, like, where do you see yourself going with the diet as time goes on? Do you see yourself sort of eating a bit less? I know obviously now you're training a bit more, so how has that come into play with it, or does it change your appetite? Are you thinking, oh, I need to eat 8 eggs a day now because I'm building muscle? Or
No. Really, like I've always eaten a lot of eggs because I've done low carb and keto before, so just got into the habit of eating lots of eggs. Um, but I mean, I don't feel like I need to eat any more because I'm training. And like at the moment, I feel like I'm at this sweet spot. I'm like, it's just the right amount of food. I don't have to think about food ever again for the rest of the day. And it's just, guess it saves money, it saves time, it makes me more productive. It's just like, it's perfect. And I, despite it being the same thing every day, I look forward to it. Every time I look forward to, "Oh, I can have my breakfast now." It's like that one special little time in the day, and then I can put my YouTube videos on and I can watch YouTube while I'm eating breakfast. And so, yeah, if it stayed like this, I think I'd be quite happy.
yeah, that's a
Mm,
nice way to be. That's
mm,
fulfillment, I think. Um,
mm.
One last question about your content. Would you ever look at perhaps doing like a what I eat in a day or cooking video or something like that?
Yeah, I've thought of doing those, and I want to experiment a little bit more with cooking too, and like, make some of the snacks that I see on these carnivore channels and stuff. And so, yeah, I'd love to get that kind of thing. I want to get more varied content out there because, um, I think if I'm doing the same thing all the time, it's going to get a bit stale as well. So, yeah, get some cooking, maybe get some. I'd like to also do some more kind of mini documentary type stuff, like revealing, the stuff that's kind of publicly out there that you and I know, but like the average person who's not really thinking about diet so much and just going from day to day may not know, you know?
I think that'd be useful. Yeah, like
Yeah.
almost like a long segment of what you've done already about, like, maybe talking about cholesterol and statins or different
Exactly.
things like
Yeah.
that. That'd be quite.
Yeah.
That would be
I think
impactful. Yeah,
statins is one that I'd really like to focus on. Yeah.
yeah. Try and get my dad off
Because
them. So.
it seems like there's so much kind of, I don't know, I'm not sure if corruption's the right word, but there's so much kind of, it's like a spy novel when you start looking at it. So I think that would make a good documentary.
Yeah, I'll be definitely looking out for that one. The only thing
Yeah.
I don't like about the cooking videos and the carnivore diet is essentially it's something brown on your plate that's either minced up or it's cut up into chunks. Maybe with an egg, maybe with a bit of cheese on it.
Yeah. I saw a picture on the Carnivore Tribe Facebook group yesterday, I think, and it was an ice cream cone made of bacon with minced meat in the top. So it was like an ice cream, a mincemeat ice cream cone on a bacon cone, and it was called a bacone.
God, wow.
It's just like I'd rather just eat the bacon on my plate.
Yeah, I'm not too fancy of things. I think like my partner Sophie, she'll make the girls something. So we have a 5, nearly 6-year-old and a 1-year-old. They're both what I'd define as hyper carnivore. Sophie and I are both carnivore. So Sophie will sometimes make like pasta bolognese, like carnivore style, like out of eggs. She'll add in like parmesan as a cheese and do different meatball sort of shapes, things like that. And even the desserts are quite useful as well. So I think it is quite accessible to people as soon as they can get out of their own way and just stop thinking that a dessert has to be red and blue and yellow and green and all this sort of thing. The colours the colours doesn't represent the nutrient quality of the food. I think that's what people look at when they go on Instagram and.
Yeah, I think actually people should start viewing colors as warning signs.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah,
If it's red and blue and stuff, people should start going, "Hang on, what's in that?"
Yeah, that's a good shout. There'll be something in it which we're probably not meant to eat. So get behind that. Brilliant. Well, how can people find you, Dave, if you want to be found?
Sure. So they can find me on YouTube by going to @0carb, or just type No Carb Life into the search.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for coming on today, Dave. I really enjoyed getting to know you a bit better. Hopefully we'll have more chats in the future, and I wish you continued great success with your YouTube channel.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. I appreciate you having me on. Cheers.